This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, June 30th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast about all aspects of home technology, home automation. Ryan's Reynoldsburg. Where are you? What, TJ?
Well, we are in the new house now, and that is in Reynoldsburg, which is about a half hour from Powell. So we're basically just the mobile podcast at this point. You know, you never know where I'm going to come from next week. So I will give you a heads up. In 2 weeks, though, I will be in Illinois. So that'll be different too, Seth. Just so you know.
Just throw me off every week. Different city. Oh man. Well, that's too good. That's good. How's the new house? You've got to be moved in now, right? Like all the boxes are unpacked and everything, right?
Well, oh yeah, 100%. No boxes anywhere. It's not too bad. We basically have the office and the guest room it's just jam packed of boxes, and then the kitchen's mostly unpacked or halfway unpacked, and we can sleep and use like the TV and stuff without any issues. So when we actually moved in Friday, like we couldn't sit on the couch. We couldn't go in the kitchen really. There's just so many boxes. You have to wonder how you gain all this stuff.
Yeah, I remember one of our first houses that we moved into, and there were like boxes that we had in the back bedroom that were there, I think, when we moved out. So they kind of like just lived the entire existence in this house. That we were there, they just lived, and it's like we were like, well, maybe we don't need this stuff that are in these boxes, and we went through them before we moved again. But the second house, we were like, all the boxes are gone. We actually did the full unpacking job, so that was fun. But
there will always be boxes.
Yeah, I feel like that's necessary. You gotta get rid of all of them. There's always gonna be boxes. At least what's in them, though. Like we have boxes of books and stuff like that aren't gonna be out and accessible all the time. But we know what's in them. So, but there's always like various stages of like packing and unpacking, right? And it's funny because, you start out maybe a week or two in advance, and you start packing up all the stuff, and you're putting all the like stuff with each other. You put the clothes in the same box. You put the toiletries in the same box. And then it's like the week of actual moving, and you're just throwing stuff in boxes together. And so it's fun unpacking this stuff, because as you're going through it, you're like, oh, well, this is all closed. And then you get to the next one. You're like, where's all this stuff go? It's just random stuff from all over the house. So that's the joy of moving.
I've been in this house for about 8 years now, and I still have 2 boxes in the basement of just VGA cables. Haven't got rid of them yet. I can't pull the trigger.
I think you can get rid of them.
I don't know. I actually pulled one out the other day and used it. So,
yeah, but do you need 2 boxes of them? You have 1 box or 2?
They're different lengths. So I have 3 foot, 5 foot, 10 foot. I even have a 20-foot one, because at one point I needed to cross the room. It was longer. So like it's like I'm having a hard time getting rid of them.
Yeah, naturally, I can't say anything at all. You can't throw stones in glass houses at all. Like, don't look behind me. Geez, man, yeah, that's it takes a while to unpack, and then when you do, you just accumulate more or whatever. So yeah, fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, glad you're finally in Ryan Reynoldsburg, Ohio, and.
The birthplace of the commercial tomato too. So if you're looking for a fun festivity, we have a tomato festival going on here soon. So
oh my god,
does that conflict with the Paw Paw festival then?
I don't think so, but you could probably hit up both and have no problems. So
it'd be a full day.
I didn't even know there was a tomato festival. So we're probably gonna go this year and then never go back.
Well, as long as the air is clear up there, you should be good to go. But I guess not. Gavin's still sending smoke your way. I edited the show like 3 weeks ago.
Wait, why are you blaming me? Like, seriously, like,
it's all your fault, Gavin.
Fault,
all of Canada's on fire. It's got to be Gavin's fault.
I only pointed 2 of my fans southwards. That's it, right?
Must be big fans.
Yeah.
That's too good. Yeah, I was looking at something today. It was like a satellite image of Portugal, and it was like you could see the Canadian smoke over Portugal now and over Spain.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's gone a long way. You guys are known for your exports, I guess, and Smoke is one of them.
Well,
I'll take maple syrup instead, though.
I
please.
believe Hamilton's your sister city, right? Up here. Right?
Oh yeah. No,
yeah.
Hamilton's a sister city of Sarasota.
Yeah.
For sure.
It has a thing of smoke over it all the time. So they didn't even notice anything new over there.
Well, I will see your Canadian smoke and raise you cases of malaria, because that's what's going on here in Sarasota.
I thought that was another clickbait headline until I actually clicked it and read it, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yep. So we're staying inside. It's beautiful and very hot outside, but yeah, I'll post this video somewhere. There was this really low airplane flying around my house the other night. Like, I mean, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And since I have the airplane spy machine hooked up, right, I could see their height and how fast they were going. They were going like it was 180 knots. So I guess 170 something miles an hour, 150, 170, somewhere in there, and about 300 feet off the ground, maybe 350 at most. And like just buzzing right over homes. I have a video of it, and it was a very fast airplane, like a King Air. I looked up the tail number, was trying to figure out more about this thing, and finally figured out like it was registered to a company that did like agricultural stuff. And so we're like, oh, it's got to be like mosquito sprays. Now I know why they were doing this crazy mosquito spray over my house. And I'm feeling all right now. I didn't get bitten by a mosquito at the time. But that's because they were dropping the chemicals over my head, like 300 feet over my head. I've never seen a plane fly that low. I mean, it's like right over the treetops. It feels like that's really low for this area. Yep. Malaria, Canadian smoke. There we go. Good stuff. Good times. TJ's got a new house though. So
that's right. And we're doing all kinds of fun projects to it. So
we'll have to talk about those coming up.
But first is the boring stuff.
Yeah. So. I mean, there's a couple of HomeTech headlines, not too much, but
you sprinkle a couple fun things in there though. You gotta have some fun while you're doing all the boring adulting stuff.
We'll mix it up a little bit here. So what do you say we jump into these HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, here's the best one of all. SmartThings, leading smart home technology providers, introduce new features for SmartThings Energy. It's a comprehensive energy management solution that's all built within the SmartThings app. The updates aim to empower users to take action on their energy use, save money, and contribute to a sustainable future. So this is actually kind of like a big energy initiative that Samsung's done that leverages all the data that they're able to collect through the Samsung Samsung products and Samsung SmartThings. So it integrates with a lot of stuff, and it can bring that all into like an energy dashboard for you to kind of have insights on what you're using. There's not too much stuff like this out there. Like I have that Sense product installed in my breaker panel. Kind of tells me that I use a lot of electricity some days when it's hot. Other than that, I really don't know what to do about it. But I don't know, like this could be able, like if you had a SmartThings outlet or something like that, or some type of thermostat, or I guess even a like a Samsung range or a refrigerator that reported that information back, like you might be able to gain a little bit more insight on like what specific source was causing a large amount of electricity to go through it. And that's helpful because you could maybe do something about it. Just, it's kind of like calories. Like you don't know donuts are as many calories as they are until you start calorie tracking, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I can't have a donut. But then, yeah, like it's just knowing what those numbers are might help you make make a decision, whether or not, good or bad. Like it'll help you make a decision whether you want to eat that donut or not.
Are you saying donuts are bad, Seth?
No, donuts are great.
Okay, just make it sure.
In fact, I want a donut. Yeah.
No, this is pretty cool, and especially because they do make a lot of smart home appliances. They have fridges, they have ranges, like you were saying, and microwaves, and all this other stuff now that's internet connected. So building this other component into their devices, it's probably already there in some capacity, but being able to actually use it and track it is useful. Tomorrow I'm actually getting my whole house energy thingy installed. I got the Emporia View 2. That supposedly integrates with Home Assistant in various ways. And I got it because I wanted to track the energy of the house and kind of see what's using what, and figure out those high consumption devices. So I think this is definitely something that everybody could use, and people just haven't had access to it before. But once they do get access to it, they're going to want it on everything.
Yeah, I'm personally.
Now tell us how you really feel, Gavin.
Yeah, that's a way to start out.
Don't hold
Let's
back.
start
Don't hold back.
So like TJ, the whole home monitoring thing, I like that idea, because that's gonna tell you the hidden stuff, that you don't know about. When it comes to appliances, you pretty much already know what's sucking your energy, right? Like, it's the fridge and the AC and the dryer and maybe the stove, I don't know. But you already know the big ones, right? It's the little things that you want to know, and those aren't going to be in a Samsung appliance, So I'm not too excited about this when it comes to the energy, but I do want, at some point, I want the full whole home monitoring system so I can see everything. But unfortunately, I got to upgrade my panel, and I'm not willing to spend $4,000 just to get more information at this point.
I don't think you have to upgrade your panel, though. I mean, you could do something like the View 2, where it has sensors for each individual leg of it.
In the one I was looking at, the Sense one, I think needed its own not breaker, but used its own spot on the panel, right? I have no free spots on my panel.
Yeah, so you'd have to install like a sub panel or something.
I already have a sub panel too already.
Yeah,
on
sub panel.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to bring in an electrician. Suck. Yeah, it does. But it's an outdated panel anyway. I have to upgrade it at some point. It's just it hasn't been approved yet for the budget.
Yeah, also bringing up a good point. To do this, it's not a $0 thing. Like, you have to have either all well, you don't really have to have all Samsung appliances, because they are saying that they are going to integrate with things like, what is that, Residio Technologies. Like, they have some integrations with that. But you need to have devices, plugs, lights, lighting devices, thermostats that all are compatible with this particular AI energy mode thing that they come up with. So it may be some time for more partners where they announce products that are built into this. But again, like, it's not a $0 thing. It may not be a $4,000 panel. It may be $4,000 in devices that you put around your house. So either way, we're going to spend some Gavin dollars. And
Gavin dollars. Wow. But one of the cool things, though, I saw, and I don't know if Sense did this, but being able to track when a device is starting to fail.
Yeah.
I know they were talking about that. So, they monitor over time, say how your furnace runs. And then if it starts running differently, and the energy patterns are off, it can actually detect if the fan's starting to give problems or stuff like that and notify you. And I actually thought that was really cool. Those kind of things I look forward to, not just monitoring how much it uses.
You're talking about the Sense, like the little energy monitor thing. It doesn't, I don't think it does all that. Maybe it does.
I think they were talking about it at some point. I don't know if they actually integrated it, because it might be harder than it sounds, but it was a cool idea, and with all the, GPT AI stuff coming in now, it might be easier for them.
Well, it makes sense too. I mean, it seems like that wouldn't be too bad to add, just because it's just detecting more or less power being used. So you think that would be something they could add?
Yeah, they actually have. I was just gonna, Sense's website. Like, I have the single Sense guy, right? The little small one. I don't. It doesn't have sensors. They have sensors now, and that seems like it's something new that I don't have. I just have the thing plugged in, and it just kind of detects whatever's going on the. Oh, no. I do. It does have sensors. It just detects on, like, what's coming in on the main system, and then figures out based on the, I guess, I don't know, like the way that the motors turn on and off. Like, it has a signature, I guess, and it figures out that it's probably a refrigerator. But I don't know that it does anything beyond that. And it's always broken anyway. Like, it's off right now. I got to go reset the breaker. Again, mine's probably just outlived its life.
I've heard a lot of bad things about the Sense in general. That's kind of why I went with the other one, the Emporia one.
Yeah,
is because it actually has little attachments for each of the legs, and so you just label it, and you automatically know what it is, at least. With the Sense, I don't think with Sense you can manually label anything. Like, it's all done by AI.
If you know what it is, you can relabel it. So, like, if I know that my refrigerator is running and I better go catch it, this, like, if you know that something's on, like a fan or a motor, like, it can tell you if your bathroom fan turned on, just it'll tell you that's come on, but you've got to catch it, and you just say, oh, that was the bathroom fan that just came on. You label it, and it should, in theory, remember it.
Okay.
But like in my system, over time, there have been like 10 devices named a fan. A fan 1, fan 2, fan 3, fan 4. Like, so I don't know what they are, what they go to, or if they're just like a wall fan that I plugged in at one point in time and was running. Who knows? So I've got to go back and reset the breaker on that thing and see if I can get it back online. And I don't know. It's okay. I will give Sense just an okay review. If I had solar, I think it would be a better thing, because it could tell you, they have solar integrations that tell you like how much you've made back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be better there.
I've actually seen cool integrations with that, where people measure how much the solar is bringing back in, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd be interested when TJ, you get yours set up. I'm interested to see how that works out.
Yeah, and right now I'm going to leave it with the stock firmware. It relies on their cloud servers, but there's actually an open source firmware for it as well that makes it completely local. So I'm going to try it out both ways and see what I like better.
Looking at pictures on their website, there's just no way I'd be able to fit all of those extra wires in my panel. Like, the panel I have is small, but it's just chock full of wires. I don't know what they were doing when they wired this thing up. It's just so full.
Yeah, mine's relatively neat, but like all the stuff is wired the same. So like basically all the lights in my house work off one breaker.
It's totally safe.
And all the outlets work off another breaker. And then like random outlets and stuff will work off the other breaker. It's totally weird. So at some point I'll probably do a rewire.
I told myself that too, but I'm lying to myself when I say that.
Yeah, the only way that's going to happen is if we like redo a room or something like that. Other than that, I don't really care.
Makes sense.
So it is what it is.
All right, well, let's move on here. Some interesting news coming from Home Assistant. The KNX Association has officially endorsed the KNX integration in Home Assistant. The collaboration between KNX and Home Assistant will help maintain the integration and improve user experience. KNX is actually widely used in commercial and residential building automation throughout the world. I know it's like huge overseas. You mostly hear about it in Germany, mostly. I think it had a large footprint there. And then I know that all through like the European markets, you will hear about KNX integrations and KNX products. So yeah, this particular module or whatever was introduced back in July 2016, which is funny. It's Home Assistant version 0.24. And we'll find out today, later on in the show, what the next version of Home Assistant is. I'm sure it's up there. But yeah, this seems like it'll be a long-running integration. It's been kind of officially endorsed by KNX, which means that they're giving the blessing and they want to help keep it running. So I think this is huge for both, really for Home Assistant. Like, it's really big for Home Assistant to get this integration officially, checked off and said supported by, but also for KNX. Like, this is going to open up a lot of people who have their products in the homes. It's going to give them the ability to use something like Home Assistant, and not that they couldn't before, like 2016 is a long time ago, but like this will give them the ability to like, okay, this is officially supported thing. If there's ever a problem, it's going to be fixed.
No, this is great I think this is great for Home Assistant, because it makes Home Assistant an option in a lot more, like you mentioned, commercial or residential areas, right? And I think that's great.
You have to rename it though. You have to be just like,
I know where you're going.
Commercial
with this.
assistant.
I know where you're going with this. I'm saving you from making this joke. I'm saving you.
Locking it down. Right. Not going to say it.
But no, it's a great move for Home Assistant, and I expect to see more of these kind of companies joining Home Assistant, because honestly, it's becoming a very powerful platform, and I wouldn't be surprised if down the road we see like Josh have an integration with it at some point or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm talking years away still, right? But it's good to see stuff like this happening.
Yeah, and it makes sense, especially for the larger companies, because if you have, other people writing the software that people are relying on, then you're relying on those people to make that work and to be reliable and everything. So, I mean, Home Assistant's a really big platform now, and a lot of people use it at this point. You might as well, officially endorse it and work on it to make it better.
Yep, good for them. So it's a good, a good quiver. Like it's beneficial for everyone when this kind of stuff happens, and there's support from both the manufacturer from the manufacturer side and the maintainer. I guess it's really weird. Home Assistant's not really a manufacturer. It's just kind of like this open source software that everybody contributes to. And like there are hacks right now for like Control 4, right? There's a Control 4 module or something in there. It's not an endorsed Control 4 module. Like it's just somebody hacked their way through. I think what it does, it just logs into the remote access thing that Control 4 has and just kind of like shoots commands up to that server. So it's not like a local integration or anything, but at least, I mean, it works, right? It brings the Control 4 devices into the Home Assistant ecosystem, which is nice. But like it would be way better if there was a official Control 4 bridge integration between Home Assistant for a lot of people. So anyway, I'm happy to see that. Move forward. It's good. Home Assistant wins again, I guess. Yay! Good job, guys.
Yeah, probably one of the more like professional companies too to really work with Home Assistant at this point. I know there's a lot of other big brand consumer ones, but like in the professional space, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought there was somebody not too long ago that came along and were like, oh, that's interesting, but it makes sense. But I feel like this is one of those like, oh, it's interesting and it makes sense. Like the KNX is just and if you go overseas, it's just almost in every home in some locations. It's just like,
yeah, it's a standard too.
Yeah,
so I mean, you know how it works. I mean, there's not like a surprise with it and everything like that. So
yeah,
good call on everybody here.
And when you see stuff like this too, you realize how international Home Assistant is actually, like they're not just, North America, they're worldwide and they support everything.
It's got a big job. All right, well, let's move on here. We've got another smart assistant. I don't know what this is. It's like they've gone crazy over at Josh.ai. We got the big summer announcements this last week. Really fun video to watch. We'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. But Josh.ai has launched Josh GPT. It's an AI-powered platform that offers custom integration capabilities and a generative assistant to answer questions on any topic. The company is also introducing Josh Remote, which is, I believe they said they partnered with the Ava Remote. We've talked about that one in the past, but it actually is kind of cool because the Josh software runs on the remote and you can just yell into the remote like you were yelling into one of the Josh Assistant little puck devices. And they also added some new like software features, something called intelligent areas and default devices, helps people and users of the system group devices and rooms together to make it more natural, like the language of naturally turning on and off a room or a group of rooms at the same time kind of helps with that experience. So if you say turn off the lights, it turns off the lights like in a combined room. Say you had like a kitchen and a living room that are kind of an open area. You could say turn off the lights, it turns them all on. But if you're in the kitchen, say turn on the kitchen lights, it's not going to turn on both rooms' lights. It's kind of just a nice enhancement to what kind of they already offered. Josh GPT was kind of like what everybody's been talking about because it has the GPT moniker on it, but it allows users to issue commands to the system's microphones and have tailored responses and different clarifications. There's a bunch of things that they were going over, like make me turn on the kitchen lights and give me a burrito recipe or something like that, and it would just start spitting out a burrito recipe for you. So like with the generative AI stuff or the generative large language models and everything, like they have been able to really expand on what you could do with the Josh system. So it's a huge improvement for what they were offering before. And it kind of puts them way back up in line with some of the more, the bigger players like Amazon and Google. I'm not going to say Siri because that would just be a lie. But like, Siri would be like, here's some stuff on your web that I found.
I don't understand that.
What's a burrito? Yeah. But I don't know. What TJ, what do you think? You have an Ava remote? Or yeah, you had one. I don't know where the thing is. You haven't mentioned it in a while, but
it's in a box somewhere. Don't tell anybody though.
What do you think about these announcements?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool announcement. I mean, this is kind of a natural thing for any kind of voice platform at this point. And it's funny too, because when Josh came out, it was basically a way to interact with your existing home automation system, but they've really positioned themselves to become a giant in the home automation platform. And stuff like this is really going to put them ahead of, Control 4 or RTI or somebody else that, still struggles to even put voice remote or voice assistance on a remote control that you're paying, $1,000 for. So, and all those companies have started to do that stuff, but they're just so slow in, the new technology that I don't see anybody else doing this for the longest time. If you think about Crestron or Control 4 or Elan doing this, like it's probably not going to happen. They're going to rely on somebody else to kind of do that. And maybe 5 or 10 years from now, they might implement it actually in their system. But this is big news for Josh, and it looks well done.
Yeah, I've been watching Josh for a while now. It's not a product that I'll ever be able to buy, just because they won't let me. But
me either.
Yeah, and I can't afford it. But it's always been a product that interests me because, one, it was local. And even with this Josh GPT, I believe it does a lot of local processing, right? But I remember from the beginning, that was the first gripe I had about it, was it works great when controlling your devices, but it doesn't do much more other than that the like the Amazon lady would do or Google would do, right? This totally destroys that now. Like this takes it up to the next level, because now you're actually will be interacting with Josh, right? Not just asking it stuff, but interacting with it. And I thought this was great. Their demos were great. I believe even some of the GPT stuff, I think I said, is local too. So it's really interesting to see all this stuff. One of the things that always blew me away with Josh was you were able to program, your scenes and stuff through voice as well. Like you didn't have to load an app. And I was always like, that's really cool. They could say, set the night scene to do this, 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 and this, and it would now remember all that stuff, right? Hopefully you can do that with the intelligent areas. It'd be nice to say, hey, this switch is located in the office, for example. And from now on, it would now be assigned to the office. That would be cool. The device defaults. If someone, for us poor people, if you have the A lady at home, the intelligent areas, we have something similar to that. You create a room, you put that Echo speaker in that room, and then when you say stuff like turn on the lights on that speaker, it will all turn on the lights in that room that are also associated with that room. So I do this all the time. I could say turn on the TV, and it would turn on the TV in the room I'm speaking to, right? So it's really cool. That's a feature that people are gonna love when they start to use it. And
I feel like they already had that feature. I feel like I want to say that maybe this is just an enhancement that makes it work a lot better. Because I've actually programmed a Josh system, and I'm like certified at some point to do the installs, but it's been a while since I took that test. And if it's not something, just like everything, if it's not something you do every day, you really don't keep up with it that much.
Yeah.
But I feel like they already kind of tried to deduce a lot from what you say. I think this is just enhancing that, and adding the large language model stuff on top is just going to enhance it further. So
yeah,
it'll probably bring it up to on par, if not a little bit better in some respects than what everyone has with the Amazon stuff too. So that's good. It's always good to get new features and different ways to customize things, though.
Yeah, no, their whole presentation was well put together, I found. I watched it when they aired it. I thought the production was great, and even just seeing all the people show up in the chat there and all the excitement around it. They have a nice little following going on now. I wish one day they might release something cheaper that I can buy, and then maybe I'll join the crew.
Yeah, not likely. And I think they found a pretty good niche that's paying the bills, but
hey,
I don't know.
Don't side with them. Like, help me out here. You're supposed to agree with me on this. Say, yeah, maybe a little Josh speaker that we could integrate with something,
Just get more money, Gavin. How hard is it?
All right, I'm working on it. It's a good time to mention Patreon, sign up for our Patreon.
Yeah, if you subscribe, get enough Patreon subscribers, we might be able to buy one.
There
someday.
you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we need a lot more. But...
A lot more. If you think it's expensive now, wait till you see the Canadian pricing. I kind of want to circle back to what some of the things CJ was saying, was like how they were now positioning themselves as a full-on automation system, and I think they've been doing that for a while. And if you go back and listen to actually some of the old podcasts with Mike Wolf on the Smart Home Show, like where he was talking to Alex way back before I mean, way before they even had the little product, I think they were just using like a Mac Mini or in an iPhone app. Like it was a very basic startup. I mean, he was talking back then that, they wanted to be in so many years on par or, taking over control system jobs. And I think what they did is actually really good. Is that they integrated with those control systems and said, okay, we're gonna handle the voice really well, and you guys that do the control stuff like the AV control will rely on you. So like, if you have a Josh system, you basically install a Control 4 or Crestron driver on your Crestron system. You install those drivers on the system, and Josh basically just goes through and sucks all the information out and puts it in the Josh.ai system. Like, and then when you want to watch TV, it inherently knows where, basically by the room where you want to watch TV. It just turns on the TV, but it's not, they don't have to do any of the audio, video routing, all that crazy stuff. Like, they just tell Crestron to turn on the system, and it turns it on in that room. Like, Crestron does all that programming and all that routing and everything, but I just think it's a really cool model that, like, it's kind of like everybody stayed in their lane for a little bit. Like, Josh was able to work on the voice stuff, and then like Control 4, Crestron, they were doing AV control really well. It was neat. It was neat to see that. Now I don't know how that's going to be moving forward. Like, if Josh.ai starts to be more of a like direct control, I suppose you could use it standalone if you had all IP control devices that worked with it. But outside of that, like, if it was just, I do like the integration module, integration perspective. Like, if you could bring this into a house that already had integration. Say they took time and made a home assistant module, right? Because everybody wants one of those. And it basically sucked all the information out of Home Assistant and put into Josh. Like, that would be a killer voice control system for Home Assistant.
Game
right?
over then.
Yeah. No, you're the voice. What? No, it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and that's true. They've been talking about that for a while, but it seems like now, like, it could actually do that. Like, I guess it always could have before, but now they're actually starting to like talk about it, and it's starting to become more of a thing. Whereas before, basically what you were saying is they were just tying off everybody else, and you do the hard work, and I'll kind of be the voice of it all, and we'll make it happen. But
yeah, I don't want to say it like that, because both coming up with a good voice control option is pretty hard to do, because if not, Crestron and Control 4 would have done it a long time ago. Josh focused on that and delivered, and then you have Crestron and Control 4 focusing on AV control, integration, automation. Like, they've done that really well. Like, it seems like it's a great partnership. I hope that there aren't in the future where you see any kind of like hard feelings on it, because it seems like together both the products work really well. Like, it would be great to see from time to like, if Control 4 has the new Halo remotes, like, why wouldn't they say, okay, let's put a Josh.ai integration into the Halo remotes. Crestron has similar remotes with like microphones. I'm not familiar with their remote models or anything, but like, if they have a microphone, like, why couldn't the request go over to Josh.ai system, be processed and run that way, just like you do with the Ava remote? Like, it kind of makes sense if you look at it as like a whole house integration, rather than just like all these silos who just want to be the king of the domain. Like, do what you do best, and focus on that. And I think everybody will flock to it. But I do also kind of get that everybody just wants to rule everything when it comes to these home automation systems. That's a thing too.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that Snap AV, and I don't know when they actually did this, but if you go to the Snap AV website and you're a Snap AV dealer, and you go to like the Josh Micro and you go click on it, it has a little pop-up, and it says, important note, Snap One is no longer distributing Josh.ai products, hardware, and software. Josh.ai certified dealerships can purchase directly at Josh.ai. So Snap AV has stopped selling Josh.ai products for some reason.
I don't want to read into that too much.
I feel like it's hard not to read into that, though.
Yeah.
And who knows where that's coming from, but I feel like that's probably coming from Snap AV. They're probably not very happy about the Ava rebrand remote, that it looks like, at least. Yeah, well, it is, but I don't know. It's hard not to read into it when you have a couple different signs there.
Yeah, I guess I
until Control 4 buys Josh.ai, that's what's going to happen, because they buy everybody else, them or Legrand.
I guess if you look for the drama, you can find it there. I always looked at that. Like I looked at it, it was kind of weird because like you still had to be a Josh dealer. You had to be certified and everything. You had to be approved. And it seemed to me like that was just like Josh was going for a logistics play. Like warehouses suck, so we do voice control. Like we have product to ship. Let's team with somebody who has a warehouse. And I just the way it was set up. It's not like if every single Snap AV dealer out there could buy the product. So it seemed like it was just logistics, right? And maybe that didn't work out as well as they thought it would. And, it was time because it was a while back they did that. Maybe it just didn't work out. Like that's the non-drama take, the boring take. But yeah, if you look at it with, the eyes of wanting to see something that might be there, like, yeah, Snap AV got mad at Josh.ai and kicked him out. Sure. We'll go with that.
well, if this gets talked about on that custom AV news website, then we know that it's you.
That's not me. Too good. All right. Let's move on here. It's got an interesting review over at Mobile Syrup, which is oddly not a Canadian website. No, it is a Canadian website. Absolutely is a Canadian website.
How can you tell?
It's talking about Govee, which we've talked about in the past, but they had an interesting product that they reviewed here, and we kind of want to talk about it a little bit. Govee's taken the concept of these like cascading LED string lights and made a thing called what they call curtain lights. These lights were showcased at CES earlier in the year, and they consist of 520 LED, basically pixel LEDs, arranged in 20 strings. So picture 20 strings cascading down like in a curtain style, right? Like 20 strings of LEDs with all these little LEDs on them. You can attach them to windows, mount on walls, anywhere you need like a visually appealing backdrop that you want this kind of like effect on there. Because you can make this like, it can be colored, like you can put a smiley face up there or heart or something like that. You can arrange the LEDs to be in certain patterns using, I guess they have a Govee Home app and another little control box that you can do. You can put text up there, patterns, anything you want. I thought, but here's the kicker. Like this is crazy. They're IP65 rated, right? So you can stick them outside. They don't have to be just inside. And they cost only $100 here in the US. Now it's $180 in Canada. We won't hold that against you, Gavin, but like that's a good price for all that you get here. That's really wild.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of LEDs compared to what you traditionally get with some of these smart lighting products. Like I know it's probably Govee and maybe Philips Hue and stuff like that, but they have, what is it, like the 4 bars that you can change the LED colors on. And I feel like they're like at least $70-$80. So it does seem like a good quality or a good price for how many you get. This would be kind of cool. You could like hang this on your porch or something for like different holidays, for like Halloween or something like that. Like one of the images, they show a little pumpkin. Stuff like that would be kind of cool around the holidays, especially because you can install them outside. And you can even draw what you want on there. So if you want to say a custom message or something like that, you can do that.
Kind of like Twinkly, but like a lot less.
Oh, so
like
much less.
The
and it doesn't seem like an awful design. Like the Twinkly ones that I have, it's weird because they split off and like a V formation
in the middle,
like
right.
Yeah, for like 2 different strands. And it's like you probably did that for power, and I get that, but like that's just obnoxious for any kind of light. I was taking them down from the apartment because we had them strung throughout like the living room and stuff because we didn't have ceiling lights. And I was taking them down and I was like, this is the worst design ever.
I have them for the Christmas tree, and well, I mean, they're just it's with like any Christmas light thing, but they're worse because like they have the two different strands, and you have to get them on and wrap them up in the little Velcro thing to put them back in the box just right. It's like, it's a pain. So yeah. I was just checking the PPLED that is available.com.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and get it.
Price per LED database.
And by we, I mean you. Go ahead and just put it on your account.
I think I'm going to have to hold off on domains for a while.
Nah.
Gavin, what do you think about these things? Would you put these up in your place?
Probably not, but I watched a video recently where they were covering Govee's outdoor lighting. And it seems like Govee's building up a nice ecosystem of like lighting that is looking really attractive. Like just like lighting that you can leave on your house all year long and program, and you can put them all in sync. So you can have the lighting around your house in sync with the lighting in your garden, and they flash and they do all sorts of things, right? And this probably just adds to that ecosystem, and the whole app is, like all controlled under one app. So if you're interested in the Govee ecosystem, like it looks really enticing to jump in there. And they cover everything. It looks like they're covering everything when it comes to like those outdoor lightings and stuff like that. So I'd probably at some point will grab one, once I have a project. I'll probably dive in.
Yeah, I feel like teens or like college kids would especially love this, because I feel like half the rooms I go into in those age ranges, they always have LEDs on their wall. So if they can just throw this whole thing up on the wall and make a whole display out of it, I think that's going to be a big sell.
Yeah. And the price is really good. Like we were saying earlier, Gavin, I didn't even know they had these outdoor lights or products. That's wild how much Govee RGBIC LED permanent outdoor lights. I was going to see how many you get with, it's $300. So that's kind of pricey, which leads me to believe there's like 1,000 lights that you can get, but I don't know.
Yeah, they get up in price, but when you look at what they can do with the app, like you can have it, flashing certain ways, but then it will sync all the different lights you have together so that your whole house looks like one setup. So it's really good. I'd recommend going and looking at videos on these.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out.
For example, for pricing, like this floor lamp that Govee has as well, which looks kind of cool. It's $150 and it's roughly 4.5 feet tall. And it's got the same functionality. You can do different scenes of lights and change them all and all that good stuff. It's $150.
Yeah.
And it's just a single floor lamp. And granted, it's 4.5 feet tall, but like, I don't know, it just, the price difference is weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, and we kind of talked about these guys on another show, another podcast with Adam and Richard. But I mean, Govee also has a smart gooseneck kettle and a smart countertop ice machine. Like they're not just holding back with lights; they're going all in on everything, smart appliances and sensors and fans and space heaters and all sorts of stuff. So like it's an entire brand. They're a thing, I guess, but their smart lighting does look pretty compelling, especially at the price. I do wonder how well it works. I'm gonna have to go check out those videos now, Gavin. So thanks for mentioning that. I didn't even know the outdoor stuff existed. That's really cool.
And that's 50 foot long with 36 LEDs for $200.
Make your next gender reveal, popular by just setting the light color,
Fancy.
Do they explode? How do you have a gender reveal without some kind of explosion? I don't know.
Not everything has to explode, It's just, like
this is
you can
America.
have it like
everything explodes here.
Oh, okay.
We love explosions.
Does Govee sound like a cannon?
Yeah, fireworks are gonna be going off for the next month now.
Yeah, people find fireworks that they forgot to pop on the 4th, 6 months later, and they're just like, it's time to go blow these up. All right. Well, let's move on here to our fun segment every week, Who Matters This Week, and it's TPLink. Yay, TPLink. They've introduced 3 new smart lighting products in the Tapo brand. We'll go all 3 of them here. The Tapo Smart Wi-Fi Light Switch, the Tapo Smart Wi-Fi Dimmer, and the Tapo Mini Smart Wi-Fi Plug. Okay, and all these products are all Matter certified. So congratulations, Tapo. You matter this week. Interesting little products. They look good. TP-Link's really pushing out a bunch of more progressive looking products these days. This stuff doesn't look too bad. And the fact that it's Matter certified and potentially works with, Apple Home, Amazon, Google, Samsung Smart Things, everything else. That's pretty cool.
That switch is definitely a Gunther switch, though. I can already tell.
Yeah.
You can tell because of the way it is.
You can tell because of the way it is. Yes. It's definitely got the one button press at the bottom going on. Yeah. Where you never know by looking at it what the state of the light was. Like, or you kind of just have to go up and push on it until the light turns on or off.
Not badly priced, though. $25 for the light switch, $28 for the dimmer. And then how much is the plug? 1 pack for $20, 2 pack for $30, and 3 pack for $40. So not terrible. And handle loads up to 1,800 watts. So that's pretty powerful.
These TP-Link devices were always popular because they were at a low price point. Very attractive price point. I was never a fan of them. It was either them or Wemo usually is the two I would compare them to, right? And I was just never a fan because they're all Wi-Fi controlled, but they did get very popular and they do have a following. And now that they have Matter, that's just a bonus.
They got to work better than Wemo.
I hope so.
The price, and like if you need like a little to turn on off a single lamp, $20-$30, you get a pack, 1 or 2 pack of them. Not a bad deal. So, all right. Well, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/441. All right. We have a pick of the week this week, and I have a series of pictures to go over. I was sitting at my house the other day, and I noticed that there was that it was raining. Like I got a notification on my phone that says it's pouring at your house. I was like, that's weird. It looks really sunny outside. So I walked out the front door and I looked, and sure enough, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's very hot. I'm like, all right. So I checked the app of my weather station, my WeatherFlow weather station, and it said, yeah, it's heavy rain right now. Heavy rain. I was like, what is going on? So I walked back to the back room and looked through the screen-in porch, which is why the little picture that you'll see, it looks so fuzzy and everything, because I zoomed in on a little mockingbird perched up there tap dancing on the top of my weather station and setting off the rain sensor. So my pick of the week, immediately purchased, was the nail-spiked, what is this called? What do they call it? They call it the Tempest bird deterrent accessory.
Ooh.
And it's just a rubber band that slips on the top and keeps the birds from landing on it.
I thought if you didn't send us the screenshot of you buying this and you showed me that right now, I would think that you made that, or you had somebody make it for you. Like somebody on Etsy made it or something.
Yeah.
Which I'm not doubting still. Somebody on Etsy might have made that still. I mean, it seems like it'll do the job, but it's very funny to look at and to realize that you bought it and paid shipping.
It was only like $10 or something like that. So like, it's basically a rubber band with a bunch of nails that are slightly bent inward. So I guess they look a little bit better than nails that would be sticking straight up. And it's just to justify the manufacturing cost or something. But I don't know. It says it'll work. It's got a warning here of where to place it. You're not supposed there. So like where the rain sensor is, right below it is a gap, and that's where the wind sensor is. So the wind that blows through there, it ultrasonically detects whatever wind is going through. I don't know how it works. It's magic. And then there's a little. It says do not take care not to block the wind gap or the vibration isolator. I don't even know what that is. So, oh yeah, there's another small part that I can't touch with the rubber band here. So it's going to be tricky to put this on. This is my next project. I'll have to do this soon, but
you're going to do that like this weekend, or is that like a couple weekends?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. How busy I am.
Got to fit it into the schedule.
Work it in. Yeah.
It looks like a product that was designed, or they're selling because of a design flaw of the original product. You know,
it does, right?
It should.
The birds are actually attracted to it.
It should come free. And when I first saw this, the thing going through my mind, it looked like the perfect like support system for a new nest. Like they all look like support beams around a nest, and a bird could perfectly build their nest right in there. And so get it in before they start having their babies in.
Yeah, it's definitely spring, and they are out there flying around. I've had this problem before. I just didn't know it had the problem, because there'd be days where I was like, why is it raining at the house? It's not raining anywhere else. Like it must be just an isolated storm. I look on the radar and I'm like, that's really weird, and pay no mind to it. I think WeatherFlow has an algorithm or something to kind of detect this, because it does. Like if I were to go back and look at the history, it would say that it didn't rain. Like it basically said it didn't rain at all. So there must be something that they go back and correct, but it doesn't stop you from getting the notification that it's pouring at your house when it's actually just bright and sunny outside. So, yeah, I'm gonna get this and keep the little birds off, and all will be well with the world again.
Well, I was thinking about buying one of those little weather stations from EcoWit, so maybe I need to look and make sure they have the anti-bird stabby crown thing.
Yeah, you see these things on top of like cameras all the time, or like in commercial spaces.
Yeah, and buildings, and keep homeless people out of places, those kind of places.
I guess, yeah, they could do that too with it, but I don't know. But I thought it was a funny little visual story, so I'll put that in our show notes as well. Like it's just literally what happened as I was walking through my house trying to figure out what in the world is going on with this thing. Like I'm gonna have to reset the hub, or what's going on? I don't know. Anyway, If you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. We got project updates. And since you guys are making fun of me for never doing any projects, I actually got a project done.
Wow.
Like completely or like partially?
Does it work?
Yeah, is it like functional? Can if I ask you to unlock it right now? Oh wait,
Oh, you spoiled it.
ruined it.
Yeah, I did get the Aqara U100 lock installed. And thanks for that confidence, guys. Come on. I've actually installed a fair amount of locks in my life, and it's not a very hard job to do. It's like 4 screws or something like that. In and out in no time. It actually worked better than the other one. Like, for whatever reason, the other one I had, I don't know, something was off about it, and it had like the tapered bolt and everything, but it would not close with the door correctly. I don't think there was anything I could do to adjust alignment or anything, but when you close the bolt, you always had to pull in the door and like really just mash the handle thing over to get it to lock the door, the deadbolt. But
hence our questioning of if you did this properly or not, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, that sounds like it was not aligned.
It kind of happened like over time. I don't know. I put this one in and there were no problems. So I
not that problem right now.
Exactly. Maybe later it'll happen. But I will say, Aqara, if you like instructions, this product is not for you. IKEA has better instructions. It did have videos that were behind QR codes that you could go look at that had, energizing music for you to, like watch and do kind of what they were trying to tell you to do in the video. It was, I don't know. It was interesting. If I had no experience installing a lock, I'm not sure that those instructions would have helped me at all. But for the most part, I was able to just plow right through it and get everything put in. It kind of laughed at the instructions all the way through. It installs just like any other lock. The app that goes with it's kind of spastic. I guess this is the only product I have, but there's a lot. We've obviously talked about Aqara and what they do. Like, they have a lot more products. So this is just one little thing in like a bigger ecosystem, which, kind of makes sense that it gets hidden away in kind of this giant app that they have, but I can get to it in a few clicks. Not that matters much anymore. We'll kind of get into like how it integrates later, but the hardware is kind of nice. The outside is heavy, feels right. I wish they just had more than one. There's no plastic feel to it, although it's probably plastic. And there's no like the keypad and everything work all right. There's a fingerprint reader. We'll see how that works over time. Everything else was good. There's the little clamping plate that you screw to basically clamp the outside piece to the door. Like, the inside piece is just the latch and kind of like the battery pack and that kind of thing. That was very minimal. Like, it barely fit in there, and it didn't make leveling anything like an easy task. So, and it's a square box on a square door that's next to a square door frame. It's not like I had like 3 or 4 adjustments, and like very, very difficult to line up and get just right. And I closed the door, and I'm like, is that off? I think it's off. So I'm not going to look at it. So let's just have to be crooked from now on.
Hence our questioning of whether or not you did this properly.
No, yeah, you feel you're like all offended, and then that's how you leave that. So.
No, that's you can try so many times before you get frustrated, because every time you have to take off the little outside the cover, and you have
then
to
you break things.
Exactly. That's what I was worried about. I didn't want to drop anything and break it.
So just go back to it in 3 weeks and fix it, Seth. That's okay. We're here for you.
Yeah, I might do that. I mean, I got to get this thing.
I mean, how often does the door actually get used, though?
Oh, all the time. Like, I mean,
okay.
it's a main door. Like, we only have 2 doors to our house, so it gets used all the time. Anyway, so pairing to the app worked well. I guess it goes over Bluetooth with your phone. Simple, easy, worked really well. HomeKit is where things went wrong, but not for the reasons you might think. The HomeKit stuff also says there's like no features with Home. It's basically unlock and lock, which is okay. It's really all I kind of need it for. And I followed the instructions, not instructions, and it didn't work. Like, just flat out didn't work. I'm like, oh geez. So like I went and sat down at a restaurant and was eating food and reading the instructions and thinking like, there's got to be another way to do this. And I started poking through all the back menus in the app and found other integrations, this other integrations menu. Clicked on that and said HomeKit. I'm like, oh, this is probably the way they want us to do this. At the same time, I noticed there was a firmware update that also added the ability to do like code management in the HomeKit app now. So like bonus, it said it would, like literally says in the instructions, you can't add codes in the HomeKit app. With the firmware update brings that feature to it. So, hey, I love that. Didn't know I was going to get that. And now I got home, clicked that one button in the same room, and the thing just paired with HomeKit, and it works remotely now through HomeKit. I can't use the Aqara app nearby. Now, this is a question I have for you guys. Aqara has like a hub, right? They have their own hub. If I got one of those, I assume it's like minimally priced too. Like it would just link with this thing and I could use the Aqara app remotely. Is that how it works?
I believe so. Yeah, they have their own hub. In the forums, I've been seeing, mixed messages about this lock. Some people saying they're returning it, that doesn't integrate. But it seems like if you really wanted to integrate with something like Home Assistant, you're going to need that hub. And then the hub, you got to turn on Matter, and then you go through the Home Assistant Matter to get, various features and stuff. But you still don't get all the features of the lock.
No, you can't go in there and say set a new fingerprint for your thumb. Like you wouldn't be able to do that. I don't expect to do that through my HomeKit app. It's more HomeKit's more of like a summary of what I can do with it. And as long as it can lock and unlock, and I can check remotely if it's locked or unlocked, or I can reset a PIN code for somebody, that's great. The best part of this lock, that's just an absolute game changer, is the home key thing. That is absolutely amazing. You just walk up to it, you tap your watch onto it, it beeps and unlocks the door. I can't tell you how insane that is and how cool it is. Within like 4 seconds, you're walking in the house, no keys out, nothing. You just walk up, you either tap your phone, like an in-app, like you're paying for the lock to open, I guess, like you pay for Apple Pay, or you tap your watch. And you don't have to like double click your phone. You don't have to bring up the wallet or anything. There's an express mode that you can turn on and off. And that if you just walk up and just tap whatever onto it, it just instantly recognizes it and unlocks the bolt. So all in all, like, given like the little small problems I had with it, I think it's a great watch. A great lock. I don't have any problems with using it so far. Every time I walk up to it, the HomeKit integrations worked fine. And I can't even say that I'm like a HomeKit house, other than like I have the home bridge that ties in with Control 4, and then a couple of home pods, which I guess that's how it's getting online. There's a home pod here, and there's a Apple TV in the garage. That must be how it's connecting to this lock over here, because there's no Bluetooth anything in the house other than those devices, I guess. So that's nice. It works. Home key, will recommend. 2 thumbs up.
It's amazing when you can end it with "it works."
Yeah. Glowing review.
There you go.
It works. Seth, HomeTech Podcast. Yeah, no, it having like 20 different ways to unlock your door too is kind of amazing. Like it's got the keypad, it's got a fingerprint reader, it's got a key, which I think I've already lost. No, they're on the desk here.
Is it like a standard key? Do you know? Is it like a quick set key or something?
It did not fit the quick set lock. So whatever, okay. I guess what is that, Schlage?
Schlage,
yeah. So it's not that. I don't know of any other brand, and maybe I can go like bring these to Home Depot and see if they fit anything else. But
you have to send me a picture of it. Maybe I can tell from the picture.
Oh, look at you, fancy man. Well, anyway, that is what I've got going on. I actually got something done. I did actually finish off another project, which wasn't like anything we really talk about. I made my canoe rack and got my canoe off the ground so Clippy could go mow in that area that was now has no grass because the canoe's been sitting there for so long. But now Clippy just basically gets stuck in the sand and now that there's no grass there. So I've got to probably plant some grass or just wait for it to grow because it's Florida. It'll grow in 3 weeks. Gavin, what about you? You been doing any big projects around the house?
Well, first of all, I got an email from Justin about printer. He heard my printer griping again, and he sent a few more suggestions. But I just want to let you know that it looks like not Home Assistant, Unify may have released an update that fixed these issues. So I got an update from Unify probably a number of weeks ago, and ever since then, my printer's just been working. So I'm crossing my fingers. I'm just going to sit with it for now, but he did give me some things to look at just in case it happens again in terms of Sonos and clashing and stuff like that. So keeping an eye on that.
Nice.
Home Assistant released another beta just when you thought you were fully updated. Nope, there's another beta out now. 2023.7 beta. It's not, I found this one not really too exciting. Yeah, and we're doing a live update right now on the show. Here goes Seth. But if you're into their voice assist stuff, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. They're laying down the groundwork for a lot of things, right? So that's mainly what this beta is covering. Few little things here and there, like copy and paste in dashboard now, some major matter updates, new supported devices, and a whole bunch of breaking changes. So keep an eye on that. The final release gets released next Wednesday, or if you're listening to this show on release date, yesterday it was released.
It's like 3 months ago. Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that.
What are they using, or what are they like? Have they figured out what to do with hardware yet, or is that still kind of up in the air? Like for microphones for voice control?
It's still up in the air right now. I don't think they've gotten to that point yet. In terms of hardware, they're more or less designing the software. I know they showed off a little hardware device that they can use for testing, but it's just a little device and it's just for testing, right? So you actually have to hold down a button, because I don't think they've gotten to the wake word aspect of this yet, right? Like they're still laying down the foundation. Eventually they'll get to the point where they program in the wake words and stuff like that. But it's looking very powerful. Like when they finally get it, it'll probably be a whole bunch of YAML, and you'll get it all. It'll be working nicely. It'll be very powerful, and you'll have full control over your voice service. And they'll probably just integrate Chat GPT right into it. So it will surpass a lot of things out there if they do this right.
Cool. Yeah, they kind of have the advantage of, like, when Amazon came out, it was like a joke machine, and it could tell you the weather. And then it was like, oh yeah, we can actually control smart home stuff with this. That'd be cool. And they kind of like fell backwards into it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everyone else did that too, right? So Siri, kind of the same way. Siri was out well before Amazon, just didn't do anything very well. But they were like, the first integration with Siri, the first API for Siri was HomeKit, right? But again, they fell backwards into it. But they have the advantage of kind of like being a latecomer and figuring out what works, what people want to use it for especially around home control, and kind of design a product to directly interface with that. So that's awesome. It's good to hear. A lot of work.
It's exciting. It's exciting to watch. It is a lot of work, but they're moving very fast too. So we're halfway through the year. I don't know where we'll be at the end of the year, but I guess their goal is to have it fully done by end of year. So we'll see how it does. And then, how's your upgrade going?
It says I need a restart.
Yeah, restart. Go for it.
Seth never restarts though.
Yeah, he hates restarting, but he has no choice at this point.
It's necessary with Home Assistant.
And the final thing I've been messing around with, I still have my ESP32C3. I've been watching videos on ESP32 stuff and trying to get my head around it and how things work. And all I have to do, if you're a listener out there and you have experience with ESP32, shoot me an email, please. I have a couple questions that I can't seem to find answers. I want to add batteries to this little device I have. It's like, what battery holder do I need? Is it gonna work? What kind of batteries do I use? Like it says it supports battery pack if I hook it up, right? But it seems like I can't find the information out there. But it's just a little project I'm working on to add a pressure sensor to my pool pump, and if I can get this working, who knows where I can go after that. But yeah, if someone out there has good experience with ESP stuff, shoot me an email.
It's such a low level thing. I think there's a lot of assumed knowledge that comes with that product, right?
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is with Home Assistant, you kind of just plug it in, and then it kind of like connects to it and then uploads firmware to it and does all the configuration, and then bam, it shows up in Home Assistant. Like, you don't have to deal with any of that stuff. So you only really have to deal with the soldering and the putting together of the pieces, and stuff like that. But then, you know, I'm looking at like a battery pack and I'm like, well, how much voltage? And, you know, I start to get into all that type of stuff. And I'm like, man, I asked Chat GPT about this stuff. It didn't give me any good answers, you know, so it just left me more confused. And it's like, I wish there was someone I could just ask this to, you know, because the forums aren't helping, videos aren't helping. You know, I'm just looking at basic videos like of people soldering things going cool. And the wife's looking at me going, what the hell are you watching? I'm like, didn't you see his soldering? Look at that technique, you know? And she's like, I just see things melting.
Just did it in one pass. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, look at like, it looks so fluid.
Look at those steady hands.
You know?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look at that trick. What trick? You know, like you missed it. Let's rewind it. You know? Yeah, she hates watching YouTube videos with me.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, we've learned that both our YouTube video suggesting feeds are totally different. Like really different.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you should have a joint one, because that makes it even better, because it's just a bunch of random stuff on there. And so we have a joint one for the TV in the house, and it's so weird what you see on there.
Yeah, she'll be blaming me for all the weird stuff, though. I'll automatically be blamed.
It's the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Math and stuff.
And that's it for my project.
Awesome. Well, sounds like you've actually kind of been busy. Yeah. It's always fun. Yeah.
I try to keep busy.
All right, DJ, we know you're busy. What's new at the house?
Oh man, just unpacking. That's the most boring thing. But I've been buying new technology. I mean, why not upgrade some of the technology in the house that I just bought? I got a TV. I bought a 65-inch LG OLED C2. It was a refurbished one from Micro Center. If you know what Micro Center is, you're lucky, because it's the best electronics store in the world. But they had a refurbished LG C2 65-inch for $1,099. And I was reading the reviews on it, and I'm not opposed to used devices. I buy secondhand electronics all the time. I buy old laptops and tablets and game systems and whatever. But TVs, I was a little hesitant on, especially like an OLED TV, right? Because it's one of those things that it's a lot of money. And OLEDs still have a little bit of issue with screen burn-in. And I don't think it's as bad as maybe it used to be, or other models had it, but it's still a thing. And so I was reading the reviews on the Micro Center website, and a lot of the reviews were like, it's basically like a brand new TV. Some were saying that it had like 25 hours on it. Some were saying that, theirs had 115 hours on it. And that's for like the actual screen on time. And so I was like, for, $1,100, I'll get it. And I'm a sucker, so I went ahead and bought the warranty with it as well. So if it dies in the next 3 years, and even if I, physically break it, they'll basically give me my money back at that point. So I think that was like $150 or something. So that wasn't too bad. And I get it home, and the screen display time said 0 hours. And so unless they replace the screen and the motherboard, I basically got a brand new TV. It seems like somebody might have just bought it, used it for a little bit, and then just took it back. So that was pretty cool. Huh? They
rolled it back like they do with cars, used cars,
Yeah, that's right.
They rolled it back.
Wouldn't surprise me with LG. So yeah, we've been rewatching, TV shows and like stuff that we've seen before. Well, Taskmaster, and obviously Bob's Burgers. And the colors are so amazing. Like, I've seen OLED TVs, and I've installed them for clients and stuff like that. And you see them for, maybe a half hour or something, and then you leave on your day and you go install other TVs, but you never really sit down and watch them unless you have one. And now that I'm just sitting there, I want all my screens to be OLED. It's just nice. And, I was trying to sell it to the wife initially, and the wife said, we could get one. And she starts watching some TV shows, and she's amazed by the colors on it. So automatic win there, boys.
Nice.
And when you add in like the 4K and HDR and everything like that, like, it's just an easier sell at that point, especially when they're watching like a regular standard def program and you flip it over. Oh man. Yeah. That's what got us the first time.
Yeah. And this one, it has the eARC on it as well. So I can get the full Dolby Atmos experience with the Sonos Arc, which I did not have with the previous LG TV. So it's overall it's a worthwhile upgrade, especially for $1,100. That's not bad because you can still find OLEDs regularly for $2,000 to $4,000. So I think this one, like normal price right now, is like $1,600 or $1,700. So basically $700 for a refurbished model, which I'm all right with.
Sounds like a deal to me. Like, especially if everybody likes it, you win. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to mount the other. So in the other house, we had a separate TV next to the TV. And that's what Nicole used to play video games on. And so we're gonna mount this other 65-inch TV that we had right next to it. So that way we have one really ugly TV and one beautiful TV that you could play video games on if you want to.
There you go. I mean, like, what works, I guess.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not? YOLO, all that good stuff.
What's better than one 65-inch TV? Two 65-inch TVs.
Well, I mean, it sucks now, though, because we're going to have to upgrade both. I'm going to have to upgrade the other TV to a 65-inch LG C2 at some point as well, because you can't have two completely different TVs next to each other, especially one that's inferior quality. So really, it's just going to cost us more in the long run. But
and TJ, you might as well just get it over with now. Like, don't wait, because when you're ready, they won't have the C2.
Yeah,
it'll C3,
different bezel.
And it won't match.
True.
Yeah,
it's true.
It won't match. It'll just.
I might as well buy it this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Okay,
that covers today. I'll
Fair.
make you spend money segment.
Well, I'm not going to spend money on that this week because I also gained 2 other text things this week. I traded a laptop I had. It was a gaming laptop that I used for work, but it was very bulky. And every time I wanted to use it, it was dead because, it's a gaming laptop. So it has like 2 hours of battery life. And I wanted it at the time because I had a really large screen. It was like a 17.3 inch screen. And so programming automation systems and doing all this stuff was nice on it. But it sucked to use. And so today I traded that away for a Steam Deck. Which is that little handheld PC gaming console that Valve makes. And I'm going to give that a shot. I haven't had a chance to play it other than updating some software and downloading things. So no big review on that yet, but I'm excited to give that a shot.
I hear really good things about that. A lot
of people really love them. Yeah, and they're compatible with a lot of other games and stuff like that. And then the final tech purchase is the 15-inch MacBook Air, the new one that just came out. So obviously I got rid of the work laptop, so I needed a new laptop. And why not buy this really expensive laptop that I don't need? First impressions, though, it is very nice. I've never really owned a new MacBook. I've gotten various MacBooks over the years. But this thing it feels like good quality. It's nice and fast. I wish for the price it came with more than 8 gigs of RAM. You spend $1,500 on a laptop with 512 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM, and you kind of feel like you're getting raked over the coals. But it's the Apple tax, I guess.
Yeah, it's an odd configuration too.
Very odd, and I think that's all you can get. I don't know if that was just like a Best Buy thing because I wanted to pick it up today. But I feel like the MacBook Air is always limited on hardware configuration, so that's probably correct.
Yeah. Although you need less than you think most of the times. It depends on what you're running on it.
I know, but it's just one of those things.
You're not going to run games on it. You're going to use that with your. I love how you traded your work laptop for a gaming machine. You're like, oh, well, I need a laptop. I'll just go. Whoops.
Well, like I said, the other one was just cumbersome to use. Like this one, it has good battery life and all that kind of good stuff. And like I said, the other one, whenever I pulled it out, people thought I was like hacking their network and stuff. So this one might look like I'm actually doing work and not playing League of Legends or RuneScape.
LEDs light up and
it's so obnoxious. Yeah. Like I turned it on one time and somebody was like, "Ooh, you got all the RGBs, don't you?" And I felt embarrassed. So that's the reason I actually got rid of it.
Well, you're in luck that Apple will never do that. They won't add any fun to their computers at all. So, yeah.
And speaking of fun, my biggest annoyance so far is the lack of touchscreen, because I also have one of the iPad Pros. And so I'm used to, I have a little keyboard case from Logitech with it. And so I'm used to using the keyboard and the mouse, and then I just touch it whenever I need to. And I keep trying to touch this screen like I'm doing right now, and it doesn't do anything. because it doesn't have a touchscreen, but it looks like it should because it's super thin and nice looking and colorful, and it looks like a glorified iPad, but it's not.
Give me anxiety touching your screen. It's one thing I don't like. Smear marks all over the screen, and
you don't like all the fingerprints that people leave on their electronics. No, you would hate my car radios then because they're just covered.
And they come up to my laptop, my pristine laptop, and trying to put their grubby little fingers on it with whatever they ate,
Cheeto fingers,
Cheetos and lunch meats or whatever.
And you never get it clean again. Like it's never going to be 100%. Like it's always going to have some speck of whatever that was.
Have to return it.
That 65-inch.
That's what Apple cares for.
Touch TV behind you is going to drive you nuts. Especially when your kid starts playing with it.
No, she's played on it all day. I mean, clearly from the unicorn picture that was behind you earlier. But yeah, no, like you
didn't draw that.
It's made for yeah. It's as good as I can do. It's made for that. It even has like some kind of like crazy hard touch thing on it. Like I'm not even
anti-smear thing.
It's like a matte finish, I guess. It's not.
It
does have smears. You can see them from an angle, but you can't see them like dead on. Or
it's not like the focus on like a glossy screen.
No, not like the Mac screen or any monitor, computer monitor, iPad or anything like that. Like at least those you can wipe down and wipe off easily enough. But I do get it though, because a lot of the Windows computers these days are all touchscreens. Mac has, for whatever reason, held off on doing that. It's not a feature for me, but I totally understand why people want to use their computers that way.
It's just like a natural thing at this point. Like everything is almost everything is touchscreen, so it feels weird that this is not. And I don't know. There's $500 laptops that have touchscreens, and this one for 3 times the cost doesn't. So it's just that part feels weird, but it's normal Apple things in my opinion. So everything is good with it. It feels nice. It looks nice. It's pretty typical Apple product, and it weighs nothing. So. And I don't need the full MacBook Pro. Like I don't need to spend $3,000.
I don't think anybody
on a laptop.
does.
Like this is already too much in my opinion. So I'm kind of glad they released a cheaper version. And I could have saved $200 by getting the smaller storage, but you know why?
Yeah, everything's online anyway. You're just buying a faster web browser is basically what's happening. So
yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. Sounds like you've been busy. Gavin, I think he's got us on how much he spent this week. So
yeah, absolutely. Catch up, boys.
And he's also got us on how much he's going to be spending.
Yeah, that's true. He's going to give him the lead for now.
That should be our next website. Actually, it's just a tracker of how much we've spent from the start of the podcast.
Just bar graphs. Just like, oh man,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I have to come up with a good domain for that one. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this week. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and others as supporters of the show can go and complain about how long it takes us to edit a show.
Sorry.
That's all Seth. Though you're gonna love my file sizes this week.
I edited the show like a few weeks ago, and I thought I published it. I was just so busy. I skipped my mind. I had no idea, and I opened up the website to look at it. And I'm like, and TJ, somebody had asked. They were like,
I know. I totally didn't think about it. I was like, no, we didn't record one because we were busy. I was like, wait a minute.
It was the show we did record that I didn't hit publish on. That was just sitting there, not doing anything. So, yeah, there's that. It was already done.
It happens.
It was saved. It was uploaded. Everything was ready. It just needed to hit, the go button, and I was able to do that this last week. So, bonus this week, there were 2 HomeTech episodes.
That's a good bonus. That's a good problem to have. 2 new episodes back to back.
Yeah, there we go. No big deal. All right, but if you want to help out the show but can't support financially, totally understand. We just would appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. Rest in peace, Stitcher, whoever is still using that. Anyway, that's going to wrap up everything this week. Everyone have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.
Blah, 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 blah.
Nailed it.
Nailed it in one.